Welcome back to the Shipyard. Today, we've got something a little bit different. A few viewers have requested that I dive into tactics, so I thought I would do that. And what better way to dive into tactics than to go faction by faction and talk about how to best utilize the ships of that faction in faction pure, fleet pure, ship pure, or unlimited play. But no matter what you have, these types of tactics will serve you well. So I'm going to talk about ships, captains, upgrades that are useful, and what makes the particular faction stand out above the rest. So, for the first episode, we have Klingons. Now, in the early days of the game, Klingons were the faction of run 3 or 4 ships, cloak all the time, and roll a bunch of dice and hope for the best. And to some extent, that's what they still are, with ships like the Vorcha, the Negvar, and the assimilated Burrell that all roll 5 dice. That is not a bad strategy. They also have all of their Burrells and Cavort classes, as well as the Katingas, that roll 4 attack dice. Klingons have the best attack in the game, except for Borg, but we won't quibble there. The downside to Klingons is that they don't really have ways of modifying their dice. Until you start talking about Drexen and Garen, using your target locks, and of course Martok 8 to get yourself an extra action, as well as a captain like Kargon, who gives you both the bonus action and the target lock. So they really do have a lot of tricks up their sleeve. Still, where Klingons shine these days are when they are rolling a lot of attack dice. So how do you maximize their attack dice? Well, you run their heavy-hitting ships. The 5 attack dice ships are typically the most durable ships. That's a really nice go-together. Then you need captains like Gowron, who can take an action to give all the Klingon ships an extra attack die, Martok 8 to be sure that you have action economy, or Martok 9, who can give all of your ships an extra attack die and a reroll of 1 attack die. That's up to a personal preference and whether or not you have the Chitang prize ship, which is one of the harder ships to get. Fortunately, it's not an absolute must-have. Now, because of Klingons' high attack values, they simultaneously want torpedoes and don't want torpedoes. Now, why do I say this? Well, because a lot of their smaller ships have rear firing arcs, and Klingons want to outmaneuver you. When they're cloaked, they can sensor echo, and they can get in advantageous firing solutions. And when they do that, torpedoes are a great way to get off that rear shot. Also, they don't always want to come about because that brings in auxiliary power. The problem with torpedoes is, of course, they cost extra points, and you're spending your target lock to use the torpedo instead of using it for a reroll. So it really is a double-edged sword, and it's up to you if you think that it's worth it. I find myself on the side of torpedoes not being worth it, as you'll find throughout all my reviews, but with the advent of time token torpedoes from the Tong, they're getting there. They're not an absolute perfect situation for Klingons, but it is getting to a better place. Now, of course, I'd be remiss in talking about Klingons if I didn't talk about core. And of course, we're talking about the skill 6 version, the one that says action. If your ship is not cloaked, all enemy ships have to shoot at you, and you get 2 extra defense dice. My favorite trick in Klingon Pure is put him on the Somme Raw, who gets a natural conversion of battle station to evade every time you get shot, also has the most natural defense, and it doesn't cloak, so not a huge problem. Yeah, you're probably still going to die with core, but he's a nice little distraction and he lets the rest of your fleet work really well, and 3 attack dice on the Somme Raw isn't the worst situation. Also, the best trick Klingons have going for them is projected stasis field. That's the tech that, for an action and a discard, disables all of an enemy's shields for a round and makes it so that they can't shoot. You take enough projected stasis fields and you can take down an entire Borg fleet. It's tricky to pull off because of the range limitations being 1 to 2 and the fact that your ship rolls 2 less attack dice. But if you put it on a support ship, and your big ships can still fire at full strength, then projected stasis field is a great piece to the puzzle for Klingons. Now, of course, there are tons of other pieces that I'm not going into, else this video would take over 45 minutes, and that's not something that I think many people are interested in. But I will say, if there's continued interest, when I'm done with all of the factions, I will come back and revisit Klingons. So do let me know if this is something you want to see. Also, for more information, you can check out the faction report on Warp Core Breach. This segment is run by David Walton, and he does an amazing job at talking about all of the different factions and strengths and weaknesses and different things you can do. So I'm trying to have a little different spin on what he does, but of course there's always some overlap. Anyways, I hope that you guys have enjoyed where I'm going with this. I hope you'll stay tuned for more tactics videos, more discussions about the different factions and what they can and cannot do. And until next time, we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care, guys.